If you've been in crypto at all this year, then you already know the vibe. Everything feels slow, the volume's dead, and everyone's arguing about whether or not this cycle is over. And honestly, it's been quite exhausting. But that's why most people aren't looking for the next big thing anymore. They just want something real, something that isn't hype, a gamble, or a 15-second trend. And that's why what I'm about to show you today is really quite interesting. Because while the market's been sleepwalking, one team has been building in what many analysts think could be $1 trillion opportunity in crypto, and that's tokenization. Now, I'm not talking about the buzzword that we all heard in 2021, but the actual tools and infrastructure that make it possible. And the crazy part, almost no one knows that this is going on. Not because it's bad in some way, but because the market's been too tired and too distracted to pay attention. But if you've been around long enough, then you know that these are the times when the biggest, most impactful things get built. So let me walk you through what's going on behind the scenes and why it may matter more than you think. Okay, but before we get into what this team has actually built, let's take a step back to better understand the context. You see, tokenization has been a buzzword for years now, but lately it's evolved from a meme into something real. You see, the biggest institutions in the world, I'm talking banks, asset managers, even governments, have all started experimenting with bringing traditional assets on-chain. The reason why it interests them is because it actually fixes a lot of important problems, like slow settlement, limited access, and fragmented markets. And even if only a small fraction of global assets gets tokenized, the impact on crypto would still be enormous. But here's the thing, for any of that to even work, you gotta have the infrastructure. I'm talking about tools that make launching, auditing, distributing, and managing tokenized assets easy and safe. And that's the part that most people forget. Because all the narratives out there don't matter unless the underlying foundation exists. And that's why this team's quiet efforts are so clutch. Which brings us to TokenFi, an end-to-end tokenization platform that's built and led by the Floki team. You see, while most of the market has been distracted by the day-to-day noise, TokenFi has spent the last few years building towards a much bigger goal. They're looking to create a world where anyone can launch or tokenize an asset as easily as creating an account. But their vision isn't just make token launches easier. No, they're trying to build the full stack that tokenization actually needs, aka the creation tools, the AI-powered auditing, the automated distribution systems, the NFT and RWA modules, basically everything that makes on-chain assets practical at scale. So this isn't just hype, nor just a concept, but rather an end-to-end platform that handles the entire lifecycle of a tokenized asset. And if institutions and major asset managers are right about this sector, then this kind of foundation becomes so important. After all, the teams that build the rails early on are the ones that will actually matter when these trends finally go mainstream. And that's the long-term bet that TokenFi is making. They don't just want to participate in this meta. No, they want to become a core platform enabling it. But anyhow, you know what really surprised me about all this? It's the fact that they've been shipping a ton of products and features lately. For example, they rolled out something called the TokenFi Shield. And that basically uses an AI agent to scan smart contracts and flag issues before a launch. So teams no longer need to wait weeks for an audit. It's basically a way to avoid mistakes early on, which, let's be honest, happens way too much in the space. But anyhow, next they launched Nimbus, which is basically their get tokens into people's wallets without it taking forever tool. So projects can use it to send tokens to thousands, if not millions of wallets in minutes. And this is perfect for things like airdrops, rewards, DAO payments, Basically all the stuff that usually gets messy or expensive. And then they also shipped AI Gen Studio, which is really fun. All you gotta do is type in an idea, it generates the art for you, and you can mint that on chain instantly. It's simple, but it just shows how they're trying to lower the barrier of entry for anyone who wants to create something on chain without needing any tech skills. Now, on top of that, they still have the rest of their tools, like the token launcher, the launchpad, the quick launch bot, their tokenization modules, all of that. But yeah, the point is, if we take a big step back here, we can start to see a pattern emerging. TokenFi is trying to build every piece you need from the moment you have an idea all the way through launching or tokenizing it. It's not flashy, but it's real execution, and most of us didn't even know that it was going on. But anyhow, what stands out to me here is how much of the tokenization challenge really just comes down to execution. Like, do the necessary tools actually exist and work the way that people need them to? And that's why when you look at what TokenFi has been building over the past year, you start to see that they've been quietly solving the real problems that have held the sector back. It's not about hype, it's just that most teams don't build this consistently, especially in a slow market. And that alone, folks, puts them in a different category. But yeah, I think when you zoom out, you can start to see how all these pieces connect with each other. There's a tool to create tokens, a tool to audit them, a tool to distribute them, and a tool to generate assets. So it really looks like the beginning of a much bigger ecosystem. And what's interesting is that tokenization isn't just one problem. No, it's a chain of problems. I'm talking creation, security, distribution, management, and more. Most teams just pick one of those to work on and they ignore the rest. But TokenFi seems to be building with the assumption that all these steps need to work together if this sector is ever going to scale. And that's why their flywheel is so important. Like, each new piece that they ship makes the next one more useful, and the whole system gets stronger as more people build on top of it. So yeah, I mean, it's early, but the direction is clear. They're laying the foundation for something that's designed to grow over time. But anyhow, at the end of the day, nobody knows exactly how this tokenization narrative will play out or when it'll really hit its stride. After all, crypto has a way of moving slower than expected until it suddenly pops off. But if history has taught us anything, it's that the projects that quietly build during the boring periods are usually the ones that matter the most when things pick back up. And that's what really stood out to me about TokenFi. They are so consistent, and I get the sense that they're trying to solve the unglamorous problems that have held this particular sector back. So whether tokenization becomes a huge part of crypto or just one important slice of it, it's the teams that are prepared for that shift ahead of time that are gonna be in a drastically different position than the ones who waited. So yeah, if you're curious to explore what they've been working on, then check out my links in the description. And I want to know what you think as well.